I'm Holly.
And I'm Bridget.
And this
is Girls Next Level.
Welcome back to Girls Next Level, everybody. We're excited to be here to talk about the We Can Work It Out episode because it's a spicy one.
Oh my God, people have been waiting for this one for so long. And honestly, so have I.
It's something else. When I was doing my YouTube rewatch, I remember when I got to this one, I was like, oh, whoa, I didn't remember all that about this episode.
I was looking forward to it. In fact, I watched this one a little bit ahead of time than I normally would because I was like...
You've been hearing all the hype on it.
Yeah, I'm like, I need to remember what happened on that. And it was sort of foggy. Like, of course I remember, but I was like, I don't remember all the details and stuff.
Yeah. Speaking of health and fitness, I did my first cold plunge the other day.
How was it?
It was actually, like, this is something, like, so outside my comfort zone, but I wanted to do it, like, to try it. It was actually, like, I did 3 minutes... which is like really good for a first time, apparently. Yeah. Okay. And it was so cold. I felt like I got thrown off the Titanic. And when you get in, like, you have to like submerge yourself like up to your neck. And and my friend was there, like, and he does it every day. And he was like helping me through it. And I was like, I can't breathe. Is this normal? Because, like, of course I could breathe, but it just feels like you have a huge weight on your chest. And it feels like it's, like, hard to take a full breath. So you really have to, like, concentrate on your breathing.
Oh, my God.
And then I, like, went straight into the sauna after. But the thing about it is you feel so good afterwards. Like, I was so energized.
Wow.
I had the best sleep of my life that night. Like, I want to do it again.
That's so interesting. Like, I know people who do it, but I just haven't done it. Like, even our pool, like, I feel like our pool right now is a cold plunge. And I have to, like, put a toe in, and then I'm like, no. And then, like, I'll stand on the first step until my ankles get warm, and then I'm like, on the next step. Like, I'm, like, one of those people that I do not, I'm not going to just jump in the pool. No way.
Yeah, I had to step down into it, but I tried to do it as quickly as I could because I'm going to lose my nerve if I don't.
Yeah. Like, I feel all the feels. Like, it's like, ow. Even though it's not ow, it's ow.
And you know what's really interesting is he says that wherever on your body it feels the most painful, not that I was, like, in pain, but, like, where you can feel it the most, that's where you have the most inflammation in your body. And mine was my wrists.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
So I have high inflammation, and I think it's more like my fibroids and stuff like that, but I would love to, that makes me want to try it.
Well, no, I was going to say, I think you'd like it, because you're the one who's always into, like, the Daredevil stuff, and I feel like...
Yeah, I mean, I would try it for that purpose. I don't know if I will like it, but I would try it.
You should do it and vlog it.
Were you in a bikini? Like, did you do it in a bathing suit or something?
Yeah.
A wetsuit?
No, wetsuits keep you too warm.
I know.
Speaking of wetsuits, my kids have surf camp this summer, and getting a child into a wetsuit is like the hardest thing.
Getting myself into a wetsuit is the hardest.
It's so hard. Like, there'll be times, like, I'll have my kids, they put their feet in, and then, like, I'm pulling the wetsuit up, and I pull them. Like, the entire child goes off the ground, and I'm, like, shaking them into the wetsuit.
Yes.
It's so funny.
Yeah, they're tough.
I know, it's so crazy. And then, like, getting them out of the wetsuits and, like, washing the wetsuit. It's a whole
pain.
Whole thing.
It's a pain. Do you remember when we did our scuba diving episode in Catalina and they got us a hotel room so that we could change?
Yeah.
And we took off all our wetsuit stuff and we're, like, trying to wash it in the bathtub and everything. And they were like, oh, just leave everything in there. We'll grab it all for you guys. Because we had to go film the next scene. We never got our diving equipment back.
Oh, were we supposed to keep all that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
funny. It was custom for us.
Oh, man. Dang.
I know.
And it's supposed to be really bad for wetsuits if you don't, like, rinse them off right away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you have to do it. And I could have used that on my beaches show after
100%. When we did the scuba diving, that was the only time I've ever felt true claustrophobia in my life. Because you're in this tight wetsuit and you're walking in deeper and deeper. And I was just like, I had to, like, pause for a second. I was like, whoa, this is what actual claustrophobia feels like the panic.
Yeah, but you know why, too? Because, so I've gone diving where I'm just in, you know, a bikini and stuff like that. But for that, we had to wear that dry suit underneath with like the thing that goes over your face, like the whole thing. It zips all the way up under your chin. Only this much is like out of your face, and then you have the regulator in your mouth and the goggles on, and then you're walking in the water and the water's like pressing against you, and it's that water's freezing in Catalina. Not to mention there's tons of great whites out there.
Oh man.
And they love exactly where we were out in the like kelp forest.
Oh man, that's funny because I had no idea it was like a dangerous place to. Yeah, let's go.
For the fun of it, I'm just going to throw this in there. Aliens too. They live underwater there.
Whoa, my God. I wish you would have seen one.
No, for real, people, like, no, I don't know that it's for real, but people have said that they see alien UFO craft go under the water there and come out of the water there. Like, that's one of the, like, known places where, like, they're hiding.
We were close to the fire.
I think so. I don't know if I'm more afraid of running into an alien down there or a shark, a great white.
Oh, I love it. Well, since we can't get on that spacecraft, we're going to get into our grotto time machine. We're talking about a season 2, episode 15. It's called We Can Work It Out. The original air date was November 12th, 2006. The number 1 dance track at the time was Jump by Madonna. On TV, people were watching America's Funniest Home Videos and Desperate Housewives. I remember when we did our very first promo shoot for Girls Next Door, I feel like they were trying to dress us as like Desperate Housewives. Like, remember that Desperate Housewife Vanity Fair cover?
Yeah.
I feel like that was the look they were going to, and I didn't like it. I felt like it was too old for us, and I was complaining to Hef about it, and of course he doesn't want us looking old, so he's like, wow, we need to redo this. I went with number 1 on the dance charts today because the number 1 song, like we've talked about like 2 weeks ago or a week ago, it's like still Justin Timberlake. This was like the Justin Timberlake era, and I still like, I hate all his solo stuff because it just reminds me of like Bad Times at the Mansion for some reason. I correlate like the Mean Girls era and like going out to clubs with like Justin Timberlake solo.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Well, and I just felt like the Mean Girls were very obsessed with Justin Timberlake.
Oh, for sure. They wanted him.
Yeah, I think it's because he was at the Mansion a few times, so they thought that meant he was accessible.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. It just gives me vibes of them like thinking they had a chance or something with Justin Timberlake. Oh, like we went to his birthday party and stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like I just feel like there were opportunities that we didn't have like with other celebrities that we kind of had with Justin Timberlake that they thought they could glom onto it and make something out of it. And I'm thinking, no.
Did you remember when we were going over that Mean Girl book and you told me that they said at the end, when they were all thinking that their time was pretty much over, 2 of the Mean Girls were like trying to devise a plan to get with Donald Trump?
Yes! Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about it. No, but they were. They had a whole plan.
No, that was like their plan.
They had a whole plan.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
Speaking of Mean Girls, though, they have Mean Girls creamer right now from the movie, and it's pink, and it tastes like pink frosting, they said. I think it sort of tastes a little strawberry-ish, which is kind of weird in my coffee, but it's supposed to taste like pink frosting, whatever that should taste like, and I got it just to try it for fun.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun thing. Pink creamer.
Yeah.
What was the number 1 movie?
Oh, I didn't do number 1 movie this week, I think, because it was like the same as last week.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't remember what that was. Oh, no, it's the same as what we're going to talk about next week with the Vegas episode. It's a cartoon movie with penguins. I forget what it's called. Happy Feet.
Happy Feet.
Yeah.
My sister loved that movie.
Oh, my kids have like discovered it on streaming.
Yeah, love. Before we get into this episode, I want to ask you a question. Do you know where this whole idea even came from for this episode, for a workout video for us?
I don't know for a fact, but my impression was that the Body by Jake company, which is called Exercise TV, right?
Yes.
Was just like interested in doing a Girls Next Door workout. Like, I really do not think this is, I mean, it definitely wasn't any of our ideas. I don't think it's anything Kevin would have had the wherewithal or Playboy would have had the wherewithal to reach out and be like, let's do this for these girls, because they didn't really do that kind of thing for us.
And you don't think it had anything to do with like Dick Rosenswag or Jason Burns, like with the Alta Loma?
I think it probably came through those guys, but my impression was that the request came from Exercise TV. I don't know that for a fact, but that was kind of my impression.
Interesting.
But I do know that sometimes Dick and Jason were trying to come up with ideas for us. Remember when they wanted us to do like a quote-unquote Girls Next Door soundtrack? So we were all putting lists together of our favorite songs.
Yes.
And then that didn't come to be because that doesn't really make any sense, but...
Yeah, I just know Jason Burns, and if you guys, just to tell you who he is, he's not related to Kevin Burns in any way. Weird coincidence. But he worked for Altaloma, which is the Playboy production company. And right about this time is when I start doing what's called the Mansion Minute as well. So Jason asked me if I would do like a 1-minute recap of what our week was like every week, once a week. And
For Playboy Radio, right?
No, it was for Playboy Online.
Oh, okay.
And I was very hit and miss about it. He was always bugging me. But I had the same problem back then that I do now. Like, it's really hard. They didn't give me like a professional lighting or area to do it. So I just had to like set like this weird camera on my desk and like sit on the floor. And I felt like they were not like attractive.
Yeah.
And like it wasn't very good video of myself. And then I don't know, I just felt like a minute was hard to kind of sum up everything that was going on at the mansion in a week. And it was just silly stuff like, oh, this week we went to the club and we went here for dinner and there was this party going on and this party going on and that kind of stuff. And I was already kind of doing that for my radio show. So like, and I'm not sure if I'm doing my radio show yet at this point or not, but it's coming soon. It's right in this area.
It's on the horizon.
But it's interesting because I found I would do a whole rundown for the Mansion Minute, just like I do for my radio show and now I do for the podcast and stuff. But I had like the Mansion Minute rundown and I found those coming up in my scrapbooks.
Well, that should help you with timeline piecing stuff together too, because it's like a journal.
Yeah, except for I wasn't very consistent about them. But I'll if I remember to, I'll post those on our Patreon so you guys can kind of see.
Fun. I like that. I'm glad we saved so much stuff.
Oh my God.
I mean, granted, now I wish I would have saved everything because how could I have ever known it would have come in handy for something like this? But I'm glad we both saved so much stuff.
Yeah.
This podcast is sponsored by Nurex. You guys know that 2 things I'm obsessed with are beauty and time management. I have a busy schedule and I have to keep everything aligned. So one of my favorite new hacks is to get my prescription face cream from Nurex. It was super easy. I just hopped online, got it through Nurex. I didn't have to find a new dermatologist or drive all the way across town or fit an appointment into my busy schedule. It really just made my life so much easier and my skin looks great and I couldn't be happier.
Nurex's licensed medical providers possess in-depth knowledge and are there to help women take control of their healthcare journey. No more one-size-fits-all approaches, only effective, tailored solutions. Nurex's providers have expertise in treating a wide range of reproductive and sexual health care needs. To date, Nurex has served more than 1.6 million birth control patients in the U.S. Nurex is convenient, private, and compassionate. Nurex provides reliable reproductive and sexual health care, no judgment or stigma attached. Nurex makes it easier for women to take charge of their sexual and reproductive health with comprehensive treatment options and quality integrated care all in one place. Thanks to Nurex for sponsoring this podcast. Taking control of your reproductive health starts here. Go to Nurex.com/nextlevel to get started. That's Nurx.com/nextlevel. Results may vary, not offered in every state. Medications prescribed only if clinically appropriate. Consultation required.
Do you have your workout outfits from this episode?
Well, I was only given one outfit.
Oh, me too.
Like, I know I had 3 mock-ups, and we're going to post those on Patreon, like the designs.
Yeah.
But they only gave us, I think, 1 each.
Yeah.
And then I didn't keep mine just because it was activewear that I genuinely wore a lot. And I didn't keep a lot of that casual wear just because it got old and gross and wore out. And I wasn't thinking of it as anything special. It wasn't like the party outfits that I'm like, okay, I'm going to preserve these because they're memorable.
Yeah. I'm wondering, I know that I wore them to actually work out in later on, but I'm wondering if I still have them. Like, I don't know for sure. I don't know the answer to it, but I feel like I possibly might still have them in storage somewhere. But part of me thinks that maybe I got rid of them for the same reason. Like, it's just sort of casual stuff.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was like a one-off.
I know. I wish I still had mine.
Yeah. Anyway.
But there we go.
So this episode starts out in front of the mansion, like usual, cut straight down to the gym.
And then you see a real rare sight.
I was going to say, and then we see a Sasquatch sighting. No, I'm just kidding. It's
I was
Holly.
like, damn, I must have looked rough in that scene.
It's Holly on the elliptical, and
Yeah.
you rewind it because you won't see that
The
very
only
often.
time you'll ever see that. Yeah, like I probably worked out a couple times a week, but it was not anything I was passionate about. I was more into like body sculpting, which as you'll see in the workout video, I mean, I just didn't really need to work out then. I didn't have any health concerns. I was in my early 20s, so but like maybe once or twice a week I'd make it down to do some cardio.
Yeah.
Just because I felt like I should, but rare sight. And we're talking about how we have this amazing opportunity come our way that we're going to be able to do this workout video. And it's another example of us attributing our success and our opportunities that we get to do to being in the magazine. Because I say something in voiceover, or one of us says something in voiceover to the effect of, ever since we've been on the cover of the magazine, we've had so many opportunities. And of course, that's not why. Like a Playboy cover on its own is not going to get you things. It's because we're on a TV show, but we can't say that because this is the show and that's too meta.
Right.
So here we are.
And then it shows me in the gym on the treadmill. And in an interview, I say, I got lots of emails asking me what I do to stay in shape. And I'm really proud of what I do because I think I work really hard. And that's true. Like I used to get, I'm sure you got them too. I know Kendra got them, emails or like MySpace messages or however we were getting our information at that point in time. Like, what do you girls do to stay in shape? Like, so it was actually a really good idea, I think, for them to want to do a workout video with us.
Oh, yeah, totally. I think it was on brand. I think it was good. You know what else I want to say about this episode before we get too far in is even the cold open, it's a lot like the last episode we watched, the rabbit season episode, where the episode is about one thing. There's no separate cold open. There's no subplots. And am I crazy? But I like this format better. It doesn't necessarily make a better episode. Like my favorite episodes of this season are Dog Birthday and Girls Will Be Ghouls, which aren't necessarily that consistent. But I think I always craved substance so much more on this show that the fact that we have a topic that's good enough, it can take up a whole episode. Like I love that format. I don't necessarily think it makes a better episode because it depends on what the content is, but I'm kind of like crushing on that format. I'm not going to lie.
It's funny. I think I have the opposite take
so
on
funny.
it. I think I like a little bit of distraction. Like I like a little B story going on, even if it's something silly like the cats at the groomer or something like that. Like I like a little bit of distraction to be like, what else is going on at this time?
Yeah.
You know, instead of, even if it's not truly what's going on.
That's so funny.
Back to the scene, then they showed the same old scene of Kendra on the treadmill again. I mean, how many times have they used this now?
Season 1, episode 1.
Yeah, but this is like the third or fourth time,
Yeah.
maybe even more, that they've shown her in this same exact outfit on the same exact day, doing the same exact workout to prove that she's the workout one.
It's stock footage at this point.
Yeah, it's so crazy. In an interview, Kendra says, I love it. I love working out, and I feel like this is my thing.
Well, no, I feel like this is my thing.
Yes, which I know that's important to drive home because that's what she's really pushing in this. I feel like I've worked my whole life to do a workout video. Shaking my ass is the #1 workout for me because it's good squats and good cardio and it keeps you fit. And I know what they're doing right here. They put it in here and that part of the interview, and they're making her so adamant about it. Not that they made her do that. I think she did that on her own because I think she truly did believe this is her episode. But they're doing it to set her up to fail. They know. They already know once this is in edit that she is not going to, spoiler, sorry you guys, to do so well at this. And they are really pushing like how confident she is that she will.
Yeah, because usually, and I know a lot of you don't agree with me on this, but I usually feel like Kendra gets the hero edit more often than not. But one thing Kevin loved to have a chuckle about, and one thing Kendra hated, is her being bombastic about like her athletic prowess, and then they only show her bloopers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this episode's going to go a little bit differently than what they usually do because it's more involved. But this is like a rare time when they're kind of like setting her up to fail.
Well, I also think they're setting me up to fail too.
100%.
Because I say that I'm really proud of myself for what I do and I really work really hard and stuff. And I think they have that in there on purpose because they're going to make me look like they're going to fat shame me in this episode, basically.
But you know what is just glorious? You're on the treadmill and your boobs are bouncing. It's a sight. I wish my boobs bounced that much.
I didn't even notice. I say I'm really proud of what I do, but they're trying to make it look like I shouldn't be. That's what I think right there.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And then Kendra is saying, this is my thing, but she's gonna fail at it the hardest, even though she's pushing that this should be her thing. I also thought something that was very interesting with this line right here. Sorry, I'm really analyzing it because I just felt like there was so much right here. I feel like also with Kendra really emphasizing this is my thing, it shows how hard we were all struggling to have our thing.
A niche. Yeah. I feel like that was one of the hard parts about being part of a group and like learning to share is I feel like this plays into a lot of the drama and nastiness that continues in the Playboy world to this day, which of course I'm a part of as well. But I feel like not everyone, I feel like there's a lot of like people who aren't necessarily that focused on attention that kind of found Playboy somehow. But I feel like if you want to pose nude in a magazine back when that was kind of like a spicy thing to do, you want attention. I know I did. In some way you want attention. You want to be seen. You literally want to be seen. And I feel like when this place attracts so many people who don't feel seen and are desperate to feel seen, and competition enters the fray, or people being pit against each other enters the fray, it can be long lasting, it can be nasty, it can be deeply hurtful to everybody's insecurities.
Yeah.
And I do feel like on this show, we each, not that we can't share the spotlight, I feel like you and I were very good at doing that, but we did at the same time want to have our own, like, dig our heels in and like at least have our own little corner. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And I think that if Kendra had her way, it would have just been her doing the workout video.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she thought that strongly. This is just my opinion, but I felt like she felt that strongly that this was her thing and should only be her thing. And, like, obviously they wanted all three of us, and we all three bring something totally different to the table for it, and I think it worked out great like that. But, like, I know where she's coming from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I'm sure that's happened to both of us at some point too, where we felt like we were bringing a plot line to the table that was our thing, and like maybe we would do that in the episode and other people would have their own subplots, but Kevin would insist we all three have to do it together. Like, I remember when I wanted to do babysitting with Treese, like, I felt like I'm the one who's like trying to be a mom right now, and Kevin was like, oh, I love that idea, 3 girls and a baby, and I'm like, can I ever get a plot line? Jesus.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we all felt that way sometime.
Yeah. I was curious too, before we move on, how did you feel about doing the workout video? Like, were you excited going into it? Were you like, eh?
It's definitely not my wheelhouse as far as like, athleticism or wanting to do a workout video for the sake of doing a workout video. But what I was very, very into at this time and very involved in was our merchandising. I tried to have my hand in everything. When the first round of Girls Next Door merch came out, they just made that and here, wear that for the catalog. Like, they didn't even consult us or anything. But I was the one getting like the bobbleheads off the ground and like the Girls Next Door coffee table book and things like that. Like, I was so into that.
Yeah.
So I really dove into this project from that perspective. Like, I think I even had something to do with like trying to get our workout line off the ground, which that never happened with Playboy licensing, but they did make us the samples to wear. And, as you can see later in the episode, like, I'm kind of like leading the meeting, and obviously the 3 of us have met and talked about it and decided we wanted to do our own segments and not be the 3 of us standing there like doing Jane Fonda style, because that's probably what they pictured. I bet they pictured the 3 of us standing there goofing off, doing aerobics together, and that's not what any of us wanted to do.
Yeah. For me, I was super excited. I mean, I know Kendra kind of thought of this as her thing, but I really felt like I can see why she thought it was her thing, because she's sporty and she dances good and everything. But for me, I had done workout videos for years, and it was like my core thing that I used to do working out before I lived at the mansion. Even when I did live at the mansion, I had tons of workout tapes in my room. I'd actually done tapes by Body by Jake. Like, it was sort of my thing. I was all into Tae Bo back in the day. So I really felt like this was sort of my thing too.
Did you ever do the Cindy Crawford workout?
No, but I did Buns of Steel like crazy, like that tape probably is worn completely thin. I did definitely the Body by Jake's. I was all into Tae Bo.
We have the Cindy Crawford workout at my house, and I remember I used to kind of do that, like, I don't remember how old I was, like junior high or something. But when I'm thinking back to that workout video, I think it influenced a lot of what I did in this workout video, because her workout video was very body sculpting. It wasn't like aerobics or hard cardio or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was super excited for this opportunity. And even though, you know, Kendra was like, this is my thing, I secretly, I wasn't like pushing it or anything, but I was secretly thinking, it's really my thing too. Like, I feel like this is right in my wheelhouse.
Totally.
Like, I'm excited about this. I'm ready for it. This is a really cool opportunity.
Yeah,
I was very excited.
Can we talk about what I've been using on my body? For real, you guys, we are obsessed with Osea body care products. I've been using the Undaria algae body oil. It smells so good. It's so refreshing. Smells like summer. It has these light notes of mango, grapefruit, mandarin, lime, and cypress. I've also been using the hyaluronic body serum. It makes my skin feel so smooth.
Which, remember how I was saying I was so bummed because my favorite body butter, they don't exist anymore, and I was looking for a new lotion? It's like they heard me here at Osea. I've been using it, and I was also complaining recently about like wanting to tighten up the skin on my legs and everything. I do not know how they do it, but my legs have been looking better than ever since I started using it. Plus, it delivers that coveted post-vacation glow like you just returned from a tropical getaway, and you can't beat that feeling or look. And right now, you can get 10% off your first order with code NEXTLEVEL at OseaMalibu.com. I swear since I started using it, my legs look so much more sculpted. They're soft and they're glowing. Plus, we have to mention that Osea is clean, vegan, cruelty-free, and climate-neutral certified. And Osea is women-founded and led and has made clean, clinically proven seaweed-infused skincare for over 28 years. Get healthy, glowing skin for summer with clean, vegan skin and body care from Osea. Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code NEXTLEVEL at OseaMalibu.com. You'll get free samples with every order and free shipping on orders over $60. Head to OseaMalibu.com and use code NEXTLEVEL for 10% off.
So the next scene is us coming downstairs to the Great Hall, and we're meeting the workout video people, Andrea, Kendall, and Violet. Andrea was the businesswoman there. Kendall and Violet were the trainers we were going to work with. And I am Ed Hardy'd out.
Oh, I have it in my notes somewhere in here. We clearly have just recently gone to the Ed Hardy store because all of a sudden, all we wear is the Ed Hardy stuff, and from head to toe. It's so silly.
Yeah, this is the start of the Ed Hardy era. I have a bright yellow Ed Hardy hoodie. Later on in my interview, I'm wearing a pink cashmere Ed Hardy. It's all Ed Hardy. And the guy who did Ed Hardy, his name was Christian Audiger, and he had just come to town and opened this big boutique on Melrose, and his whole thing was gifting celebrities.
Yeah.
So we went there and got, I mean, they loaded us the fuck up. And people make fun of it now because it's so of an era, but they had some cute shit too. Like, I still remember I had this like zip up, like white cashmere hoodie that I loved. Like, I would probably still wear if I had it today. But anyhow, I remember having to do this segment with him. It was some publicity thing. I forget what it was. I think it was for like British TV or something, where I was giving him a tour of the mansion, and they wanted to set up this fake storyline where they were doing this documentary on him, and it was all about Christian Audiger coming to LA and like trying to be a Hollywood fixture. And they wanted, like, obviously that's somebody that Hef would probably invite to the parties or could get on the list, but they wanted to set up a scene where like he's really trying to get accepted into the parties, but I'm supposed to act like, I don't know, we'll see. And I'm supposed to like snob him off a little bit.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it's a joke thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm
no,
like,
actually, it wasn't a joke. Like, I mean, in real life, I'm sure he got invited to the parties. Like, we wouldn't have snobbed him off like that. But on the documentary, like, I never saw the finished product, but they were serious. They wanted to make it look like he had real stakes, and he was like having
they need
a
that
hard
drama
time
for the show. A couple of things that we say in commentary right here too before we move on is that we say that Hef was asking us individually right at this point in time to do Playmate videos. I know we've talked about them before, but like we actually talk about it in commentary that, can you believe, you're like, Hef asked me if we would do Playmate videos, and Kendra's like, he asked me too, and I'm like, no, he came and asked me too. Like we had just had a revelation that he asked us individually to do the Playmate videos, and we were like, no.
And I say in commentary that I said to him, well, I think we'd want to do them separately. He goes, oh, no, well, I think there's no question some of it would have to be together, which I just am grossed out by because I feel like a video of the three of us naked together would look so like pornographic past my comfort zone, or what my comfort zone even was back then. But I remember back when he asked me, I was like, no. And I remember he just looked like he got slapped in the face because I'd never said no to anything. But I'd said no to stuff before, like I wouldn't like recruit girls or anything like that. But I hadn't like just straight up said no to something that wasn't like relationship and jealousy related. You know what I mean? Like I think he was okay with me not being a recruiter because it's like, oh, well, she's so in love with me. She can't stand to see me with other girls. You know what I mean? So I could like get away with that. But this was the first time I was like confident enough to say no. And he just looked like he'd been slapped in the face.
Another funny note that I have in here from the commentary is you're commenting on how bright Kendra's sweatshirt is in like the interviews and stuff, because it's like neon yellow, like highlighter yellow. And she's like, yeah, well, the producers are always bugging me to wear bright colors in the interview. And I'm like, oh my God, me too. And it just reminded me of this one day I went out to go do my interview, and it was out in the game house, so it's kind of a distance for me to like go from my room out there. And I go out there and they're like, we don't really like that shirt, can you like change shirts? So then I go back in my room and I'm kind of mad or whatever, but I change my shirt and everything, and I go back out and they're like, I think you wore that one in an interview already, can you change again? And I was so pissed. I go back to my room and I was like, fuck, and I slam my door, and one of the producers was like filming something else, like in Kendra's room or something like that, and she was like squatted down in the hall because they always have to like hide in the hall and stuff. She's like squatted down the hall. Her face, she looked like she was so scared, and I just slammed my door so hard, and I like saw her out of the corner of my eye in this fit of rage.
Oh my God!
Fuck, and slammed the door.
That's so funny, but I get it because I feel you on that day. Like I'm guessing it was probably you'd had your makeup done. It's a hot ass day. You're sweating every time you walk back and forth, and they're like,
and you just run out of ideas for like tops that you want to wear.
Yeah.
It's like, and like, oh, you didn't like the color. Oh, you've already worn that one. Like, oh my God.
And sometimes you'd be seated and they would send a photo to Kevin, and he was so picky about these interviews, and that never subsided. That kept going to the Holly's World era, and it got to the point where we were shooting the Holly's World confessionals on green screen. And if you're on green screen and you have one little hair that's sticking up, and people would try to put it down in a pomade, and I just got to the point where I told producers, I'm like, I'm 100% fine if you just pull the hair out of my head. It's honestly easier.
Yeah.
Because he was so particular about the interviews, which I get to a point because there's a lot of things I love about those confessional interviews. You know, when we look really great or when the backgrounds really express our personalities. Mm-hmm. But he was a little over the top about it to the point where the producers were kind of tortured.
For sure. But I just remember that one scene because I don't feel like I lost my shit like that too often. But like the look on her face, she looked so scared.
She's probably like, what in the fuck just happened?
Yeah. And I remember just being so mad, and for some reason that little like 10-second memory just like sticks with me every once in a while. Like I remember it, and I sort of feel bad for the producer, but then I also feel that anger I still had at that moment, and then I think of the whole thing and how stupid the whole thing is altogether.
Stupid, but like I know when you're telling that story, like I just know what it is. I know it's a hot day. You're sweating your makeup off. They're making you go back and forth, and you're like, and you know you're gonna have to sit in an uncomfortable chair and talk for 3 hours, and it's just like.
Yeah, and I spend a lot of time like thinking about what I'm going to wear for this kind of shit. So it's not like I just like pick up the first top that's laying on my floor or something. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, okay, I'll wear this. And then when they tell you you can't wear that and you don't have a backup, and then the next thing that you pull is not okay either, then it just starts getting really frustrating. And you're like, you know what? Then buy me a bunch of t-shirts that you want me to wear in these interviews and have them lined up.
Yeah.
That's my folly. Anyway, so now we're back. We're in the dining room, And like you said, you're talking to them about, we all obviously already had a meeting about what we want to do.
Do you spy a random thing in the background?
Yes, I was going to ask you about it. Like, where does that come from?
It was a Haunted Mansion bride Halloween prop. She like
Yeah.
lights up and stuff. And this was back in the day, like they weren't doing merch at Disney back then like they do now. Like this was the first ever, I think, merch that I'd seen of like the bride. So this was like a really cool thing.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly when we filmed this. Was it like before Pumpkin Night? Because I don't know if I just plugged it in to see what it would look like, but that's not something Hef would have let me like let live down there. You know what I
Well,
mean?
this would have been in September sometime.
Okay, so I must have just plugged it in to see what it looked like and
Yeah, early September.
forgot about it. But I found pictures, like I was posing for pictures next to it, so clearly I thought it was a big deal. I'll put those up on the Patreon. But it's very random.
Yeah.
I'm surprised production didn't move it because it just looks so out of place
It
there.
does. I was like, well, what is that and why is it there?
So I'm sitting at the head of the table. I'm presenting what we had talked about before, that we want to do 3 completely different sections that highlight our strengths and kind of give, something for everyone. And I think that's just what we craved at the time. We all 3 craved like a little bit of individuality. We'd been doing everything as a 3-headed unit for so long,
Yeah.
including like our pictorials and things like that. And we just really wanted a chance to shine on our own.
Well, and not only that, we truly do work out differently.
Oh, 100%. And also another thing I want to say that I think pertains so much to this workout video is I'm the type of person that detests, and this goes back to my childhood in school, I hate doing group projects because I'm usually the one that ends up doing all the work. Like, not always.
Yeah.
But I just, like sometimes it was hard with the 3 of us because some people wouldn't pull as much weight as the others.
Right, that's for sure. I do want to talk too because Kendra says that Kendall and Violet were they were so damn serious and everything, and that did strike me when I was rewatching this. They were so serious, and I feel like working out should be fun as you can make it. I know a lot of people don't think it's super fun, but like I feel like if you can have fun with it and let your personality come out, then other people have fun
Yeah.
too. Especially when you're like doing a video like this. If you're all serious and like it has to be like this and blah blah blah, then I feel like that's when it gets like kind of like
Pressure.
pressure and doesn't feel fun. It feels like a job that you have to do. And I also was thinking too that I was going to have fun with it, but take it seriously as well, because I also did see this kind of like the last episode. This is another opportunity that could be a job later on. Not like I thought I was going to be some big fitness trainer or anything like that, but I thought it would be cool to have a series of workout tapes, and I would have loved that.
Totally. Do you think Andrea, Kendall, and Violet from Exercise TV were given a role and a plot line to do? Because I feel like, as we'll see later, they're coming at us with, I don't know if you guys are serious enough. And like Kendra said, they're very, very serious about the workouts. Do you think they were really hyped up by production? Like, this is your MO. You really need to push the girls. Because I feel that the original intention for this episode that the producers were thinking before it turned out being what it was we're going to make it seem like all these girls are lazy and don't have a work ethic. We're going to make Holly's clumsy and hates working out. We're going to give Bridget the food thing we always give her. We're going to not support Kendra the way we usually do and kind of just see what happens. And we're going to make it look like these lazy Beverly Hills princesses can't pull it off.
Yes.
And somehow I don't know how they thought they were going to save it in the end and get a product, but I can tell by the way Andrea, Kendall, and Violet are acting that they were like given a loose script, so to speak. Like, not a literal script with literal things to say, but I think they were hyped up like, you really need to ask the girls, are you serious about this? Can you really do this? Can you really handle it? And you really need to push them.
That's why I was wondering where this came from to begin with, because I feel like it's so weird that if it came from them, like if they at Exercise TV was like, you know what would be a good idea? Let's try and get the girls next door to do a workout video. And then they come to us and they're like, are you guys even serious about this? Like,
Yeah.
come on, are you wasting our time here? It's like, wait, who came name.
Yeah,
but
we didn't
who?
pitch this.
Yeah, so that's why I was wondering, well, did Playboy approach them? Like Alta Loma, the Playboy production company, maybe approached them? And they're like, well, we'll do it if the girls are serious.
Yeah.
Then that kind of makes sense to me. So that's why I was wondering right at the top, like, where did it come from? And I still would like to know because I don't think we know for sure. And it makes a big difference sort of in how this all played out. And I would love to get Andrea on the show if anybody knows where she's at.
Oh, we were trying to look her up, trying to figure out what her last name was. We were asking people we knew that were producers on the show. Nobody knows. But she was so funny, so I feel like she would be like a cute mini interview.
Yeah, I think she would be a great interview, and she'd have so much information on like how this actually came down. For a minute, I thought maybe she was even Jake's sister because I feel like she has that outgoing personality like Jake has, and I feel like they could be sister and brother or something. So I was like,
totally.
Does Jake have a sister?
Yeah, that's funny.
I always dread when it's time to feed the cat. It smells so bad and it looks even worse. I'm like, how do they eat this stuff? Well, I just want to say that this partner has truly made a positive impact on the most important person in my life. No, I'm not talking about Nick. Sorry, Nick. I'm talking about my cat. Terry. Terry's food would stink so bad, and I dreaded every time I had to feed him. But that's why you've got to try Smalls. If you're still feeding them cat kibble, I mean, who knows what's even in that stuff? Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients you'd find in your fridge. And it's delivered right to your door, like you can't even beat that. That's why veterinarians.org rates Smalls 10 out of 10 for ingredient quality. Right now, my cat's favorite flavor is the chicken one, but knowing my cat, next week it'll be a totally different flavor that's his favorite, because just when I think I have him figured out, I don't. And my cat prefers Smalls way more than their previous cat food. I legitimately did a taste test, put 2 bowls side by side, and they immediately went to the Smalls. Let me just give you a little bit of history. Smalls was started back in 2017 by a couple of guys home cooking cat food in small batches for their friends. A few short years later, they've served millions of meals to cats around the world. I personally love Smalls for a variety of reasons. I mean, number one, let's just start with the good, clean ingredients for my cat, because I never thought I would find that in a cat food. I used to have that in a dog food, but I had trouble finding that for a cat. I also like that it doesn't stink so bad. Like sometimes when I'm in a hurry and I have to feed him and I'm on my way out the door, I feel like my hands reek of cat food, even after I wash them. No more with Smalls. Not to mention the convenience. You can't beat things being delivered to your door.
Now is the time to make the switch to Smalls. Head to smalls.com/nextlevel and use promo code NEXTLEVEL at checkout for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. That's the best offer you'll find, but you have to use our code NEXTLEVEL for the 50% off your first order. One last time, that's promo code NEXTLEVEL for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. And I'm doing this presentation and I'm like, we all want to do it separately. We can create shorter workouts for really busy people. And then I go, or lazy people like me, because I'm just playing into like, I'm supposed to be
and
the
they
lazy
give you
one.
dirty
I know.
looks.
And then they stop and they cut to the looks and the crickets and stuff like that. But I do think there's something to the fact of, like, I love the idea that the video could be 3 completely different workouts, and you can either do like, okay, I want to do this one, I'm going to do it 3 times over, or I'm going to do a mix of all 3. It's very mix and match. Or if you only have time to do 15 minutes, you can do 15 minutes. Like, I love that.
Yeah, it's good. For me, I didn't love it only because I felt like the workout that I was doing should also be accompanied. I wanted it to be accompanied by 30 minutes on the treadmill, which they wouldn't let me add in. And it's weird because I looked
workout
at
videos do stuff like that.
some do, but they didn't want to have equipment in there that people might not have at home, which makes sense. Like, I get why they didn't want it, but I felt like that the workout that I did is only complete if you do it longer and add treadmill cardio into it as well. So like I said, I always work out for an hour. So I felt like that should have been an hour workout, 30 minutes on the treadmill and 2 times the length of the boot camp stuff that I was doing in it. So I didn't feel like it was enough, but I felt like it was fun. And if you did the whole video, then maybe you got your whole workout. Or like I say in this, you can always rewind it and do it again.
Yeah.
Rewind it and do it again. Rewind it and do it again.
And I do feel like if we have to do a workout video all 3 together, this was probably the best way to do it.
Yeah. And there's no way we didn't have enough time for all of us to do an hour video or even 30-minute video. We barely had enough time for us each to get 15 minutes done.
Yeah, totally.
There's a part where Kendra interrupts, like, because, Andrea's asking, like, how dedicated we are and how into it is. And Kendra interrupts her and says, girl, I'm an athlete, okay? I've been committed to it my whole life. And... I mean, I'm only adding that in here because they are building the stakes really high for Kendra here. And yes, she's being like self-aggrandizing, but they're really pushing it because she has so much, she's so sure of herself. Yeah. And this should be a no-brainer for her. And the show wants you to know that. And then in an interview, Kendra says, I'm a perfectionist when it comes to sports and working out and stuff. I want to do everything perfect. I want to be a pro at everything. And I just thought this is my time to shine.
So then it cuts to us stretching in the backyard. And then it shows Andrea, Violet, and Kendall walking outside. And they're doing a little discussion about how serious are the girls about this. And I can tell just watching this stuff, that's so set up. Like the producers asked them to talk about that specifically. This was not a candid conversation they walk in on. They might have been thinking that in their heads. They might have been like, who are these clowns we're working with? We don't know yet. But I know they were asked to say that.
I think so too. And I have a bunch of questions. Did they really say that? Did they really think we couldn't do it? Did they, like, I have all these questions regarding that, but I think it was set up too. I think there's 100%. No point in even asking all these things because I do think it was set up.
There is one thing they say that bugs me, and I don't take it personally because I know they were asked to say this, and I know we're just building stakes for the show, and it's giving us something to work against. But the thing, if anything, was going to like irritate me, it's like, well, they want to do a workout video, but when they realize there's real work involved, because no, I'm a Capricorn. That's my thing. I don't care if I'm the clumsiest, most out of shape bitch on the planet. If you're saying, Holly, you're doing a workout video, I will come through.
Yeah, me too.
100%.
Me too. Like, we have a very strong
work ethic.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. So we're doing all these warm-ups on the grass and everything. We have to run, like sprint and touch the tree and run back and stuff. And in commentary, we say that it was really actually scary because the grass was all wet and super slippery and we were slipping and sliding and we're like trying to sprint as hard as we can, but it was like scary.
We needed cleats, yeah. And it shows me like getting tired after like we run back and forth 2 times, but it wasn't really that. Like we were running for a long time and I hate doing cardio. I never do like high impact cardio. So I really couldn't keep up. But also I feel like I'm going to like slip and fall on my ass too.
Oh, but then she uses that against you. She's like, do you even want to do this?
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I just don't want to slip and fall on my ass on camera on national television.
Yeah.
And then she gives up on me, Violet does, and she just points at you and Kendra and goes, I need you two to da-da-da, or do whatever. And then Coco, the monkey, decides to make her appearance and climb up into her little tower in her cage, and she's watching us, and that was really what I wanted to focus on instead of running.
Did you notice, too, that they really focus on Kendra excelling at this stuff? Like Kendall is like, oh, Kendra, you're doing great, excellent job, like this is amazing, blah blah blah, and then they show you really failing at it and not wanting to do it, and she's not serious and
slipping
blah blah
and sliding off the equipment, and
but they don't really focus on where I'm at on it. Like I feel like you see me doing stuff and everything, but there's no real like, well, where's Bridget in all of this? If Kendra's really excelling and Holly's flunking at it, where's Bridget at during all of this stuff? Because I feel like I was doing a really good job with all of it and keeping up with Kendra for the most part. And I think they didn't want to show that because it didn't show 3 different levels like they always want to show.
3 different levels. They want people to assume you're doing medium.
Yes. Yeah. Like, and I just fall somewhere in between.
Yeah. And then they have this moment where they ask us where we want to be fitness-wise, which is kind of like odd because I don't think any of us, well, maybe me the most if anybody's doing it, but I don't think any of us were doing this workout video to try and get somewhere we weren't.
Right.
I say maybe me a little bit because I was so hyper focused on my appearance that I could have always done more like body sculpting wise, and that's what my workout was.
Oh, of course I felt like I could do more, but like I didn't really think that was the point of this workout. I honestly felt that we were being asked to do this workout because people liked the way we looked already.
Yeah.
And what do you guys do every day? How do you maintain it? How do you live at a house that has a 24-hour kitchen with cakes and cookies and candy bars and whatever you want anytime and stay in shape? Like, I didn't think that us doing this video meant all of a sudden we had to get like rock hard bodies and transform into something that we already weren't. I didn't think that was the point of it at all.
Yeah, because there's already workout videos out there for that, if that's what you want. Yeah.
So it took me off guard because I thought, oh, they want me to be me and show what I do. And so when they're asking us what we want to change and what we want to modify, like, I'll be honest and tell you what, like, I want to work on and what I think could be better and stuff, but I had no plans in trying to do that in time for this shoot for this video.
Yeah. And when they ask me what I want to change, like, everything I'm saying is sincere because I had like major body dysmorphia then, but I look at it now and I'm like, am I joking? Like, if I didn't know myself, I would look at it now and being like, is she being obnoxious and just trying to like play into a role of your body can never be good enough? Because I'm like, I'm really bloated, and they focus in on what looks like a very flat stomach, and then I turn around and I'm like, and then I have like this dot of cellulite back here, and they focus in on like a leg where you don't really see cellulite. And I wasn't trying to be obnoxious or even really lean into a caricature. I was very sincere because that's where my head was at the time. But crazy.
Yeah. And mine is pretty much the same stuff. I said I could have a flatter stomach, which that's my whole life. No matter how skinny I've ever been, I could always have a flatter stomach.
Yeah, it's always bloating for me, I feel like.
And then I want to tighten up the back of my legs. And that's still my number one thing I want to do. But I was curious, too, why she was asking us that. If it's something that the show asked her to ask, or if they really thought we didn't have the right look and that we needed to do something. Like, did they think we weren't fit enough to do this? And if so, why'd they even ask us in the first place?
I have to believe the show asked them to ask that just to get another point of conversation and more to work on, because if they only want to do workout videos with people who are absolutely like fitness competition level ripped, then none of us are that.
Right.
So, like, clearly you know what you're getting into when you agree to do this workout video. So I think it was the show. They're just trying to give us, like, stakes or something to work toward or something. And speaking of, when I'm talking about, like, my lump of fat under my butt or something, I've since learned that's a thing. It's called a banana roll. And I remember back in the day, I went to Dr. Orion at Epion and asked him about it. I'm like, can I get this taken away? And they go, no, that's actually, it holds your butt up.
Oh.
So you can't, you just have to live with that banana roll.
Oh my gosh. Well, and then when she asked me, so are you prepared to do some dieting and things like that? And then like the horror movie thing strikes and I'm like, And
I feel like the show had to have put her up to that, because I'm like, okay, we're rehearsing for a workout video that we're filming in 2 days.
No, we had 3 weeks at this point.
Oh,
it was going to be in 3 weeks. That's what we say.
Was it in real life, though?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. How much weight are we going to lose in 3 weeks? Unless we're doing, like, the crash-ass of crash-ass diets.
This 3 weeks also constitutes my birthday week. Mm-hmm. We already had scheduled that we needed to go to Arby's because, spoiler alert, that is like a paid promo for our show.
Yeah, it was a backdoor commercial.
And there was something else, too. I think we already knew we were going to the Improv, and we were specifically going to the Improv, of course, to see Julie, but also for the food, because we'd heard how amazing the food was. So there were already all these things on our schedule where we knew we were going to eat junk food, and they're like, okay, how about a crash diet for 3 weeks? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to be dieting over my birthday. Like, no way. And that's when I say in this interview, like, I was fully under the impression that they wanted us to do this workout video because they liked the way we look now and that people like the way we look now.
Yeah.
Like, not how we could look if we went on a crash diet for 3 weeks. And you know what's weird, too, is they really play me like anti the diet. And I am anti the diet, especially during the time frame that they want it. But part of me feels like I would, at a different point in time, would have possibly liked the challenge of 3 weeks. Because 3 weeks isn't that long. Like, it might be kind of fun. Like, I look at it, or maybe it's just the way I'm looking at it now, but I look at it and be like, that'd be kind of fun to do, like, a 3-week challenge. I probably could do that.
It just wasn't the right 3 weeks.
Not the week of my birthday, though.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it that week.
Yeah, and when we're doing so many other things.
Yeah. And I talk about in there, too, how I'm always trying to find the perfect balance between eating what I enjoy to eat and working out. And Andrea says, right, well, isn't that what you're saying? Isn't that what every woman in America can identify with? Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's where I feel like the happy medium is. Because everybody wants to find that equal balance right there so that you can enjoy life and eat what you want and obviously work out too and do something that's fun that you enjoy doing. That's the balance that you have to find. And like you said, sustainable. Like if you go on crash diets, you're only going to maintain that while you're on the crash diet. And then as soon as you stop doing that, you're going to gain it all back again. Yeah. So I've never been somebody who's into like diets. I mean, I'll try and eat healthy for like a thing that's coming up or like, you know, something quick. But like you have to find something that you can maintain for the long haul. That is just the way of life. I've never been a proponent of diets or, you know, those kinds of things. So, and then she says, I mean, you guys need to cut out drinking, which is like half our schedule.
It's my coping mechanism.
So I'm like, do you know that you realize we're at the Playboy Mansion and that we go out like 3 nights a week, right? Like, what?
And then it cuts to us in the med room, and we're kind of continuing this conversation of like Violet hyping us up to commit to this. And then it does a weird cut to Kendra where she goes, sold. But I feel like that was an out of context cut.
I wrote that
And they're
too.
just trying to portray it as like, you're not sold and committed to this ever since diet was brought up. But Kendra is so sold.
Yeah.
And I can just tell by the way it's edited that that's not really what happened.
Me too. Me too. 100%.
And then we suddenly learn that Kendra's been practicing martial arts for a year.
Right, which I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but also like we were so busy with our own things. I was not by any means monitoring what she was doing on a day-to-day basis. And she didn't necessarily like open up to us or try to have convos about anything extra really. All the time. And her trainer is this guy named Hector. And I went on to IMDb to try and find Andrea's last name, but Hector is listed with his professional headshot and everything. So, so he's out there doing his thing.
Interesting.
And then we cut to me talking about my love for green smoothies, which I went through a very long green smoothie kick. I was craving them like crazy, particularly blueberry ones when I was pregnant with Rainbow. And it was like my health thing for the longest time, but they're such a pain in the ass to make.
Yeah.
I remember I went to Burning Man and I was still like on my health green smoothie kick, which you never want to do healthy food at Burning Man. People are eating Fritos and bean dip. You know what I mean?
Yum.
But I'm in there in the RV like making a green fucking smoothie for every meal and then having to like wash everything out. And it's just like, it's a mess. It's a nightmare. And then I say in commentary that I started drinking the green smoothies to be healthier, but then I actually gained weight drinking the green smoothies because every green smoothie I was making at the time had a banana in it. A banana has carbs and like 95 calories per banana, and the fact that I restricted my calories so much that green smoothies made me gain weight is a little troubling to me. And sometimes on our Patreon and our questions we'll get people asking for like a specific list of exactly what we used to eat at the mansion, and I refuse to do it because I feel like I was borderline ED back then. Like I was so strict with my calorie counting. Like I'm not putting that out there. It's not healthy.
Yeah. So I'm on a smoothie kick right now. Bought all kinds of fresh fruits and chopped them all up. I have them in the freezer, ready to go. But they have to be a meal replacement because they are a lot of calories in them.
Yeah.
So it's like in lieu of lunch or in lieu of breakfast or something like that. It shouldn't be like with my breakfast or with my lunch.
Mine were in place though, and I still gained weight because that's how crazy my day-to-day diet was, as I was counting every last calorie. Like I know it doesn't really look like it on the show because I will like have junk food every now and again, but in my head I was calculating how much that was, and then I have to eat that much less calories the next day. Like that's how insane I was.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
But green smoothies are a great way to get nutrients.
Oh, for sure. Like I was just going to say too, I love adding the supplements. Like I'll add collagen supplements. I add the Armra. Like I add stuff to them that makes them like superfoods. And yeah, they're really, really good.
So tell us about calling your mom.
So yeah, I call my mom to tell her about this diet. And I think what upsets me most about it too is that I feel like they're wanting me, all of us really, but me, to do something that I don't normally do and act like this is just how I got here. This is how I do it. And I think that's sort of what bothered me too, that they want me to like significantly, for me, that's significantly changing my lifestyle for 3 weeks to do this video and then just act like that's this is what I do and this is what I look like. And like I said, I was under a completely different impression that they wanted it for how we are now. And that's what I wanted to portray. And I do think that that's finding that balance is what's most important. And that's what I wanted to portray to the people watching.
Well, I love how you are in this episode, and I feel like you're very ahead of your time as far as being transparent and being like, I just want to present myself as how I am and be honest with the fans, and this is what I do. Because even to this day, so many people don't do that. Yeah. I mean, look at how many like obvious closet Ozempic users there are in Hollywood, or people who get so much obvious plastic surgery that you can see with your eye but will never admit to it, you know?
Yeah.
So I love that.
And my mom knows how, like, how I don't diet. And I won't say won't, because like I said, I would take a 3-week challenge. I think it would be fun now, but that it's not my thing. And so I know that she could sympathize with me. Plus, my mom is always my go-to to call to vent to. Yeah. Still to this day.
So we're about at the halfway point. Should we wrap it up?
Already? I feel like this went by so fast.
I know.
There's a few commentary things that I was just going to point out. Let's see. We talk about in commentary how nice Kendall was and how easy he was to work with.
He really was great.
And that he meant business, but he got things done fast. Yeah. And we talk about how fast the turnaround was, too, because we only had, I think this is where you're getting the 2 days. We only had 2 days to practice. And each day they only gave us an hour and a half each. So we had total 3 hours of practice before we were shooting this video.
But we could have on our own time, like in our head, been like, oh, this is my routine and stuff like that.
Yeah, except for we didn't have it fully approved till Kendall like went through it that last 2 days. And, like, helped us solidify it.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I got the 2 days because Kendra later in this episode kept saying, I only got 2 days. I only got 2 days. I only got 2 days.
Yeah. Well, we all only got 2 days.
Yeah.
And then when we're doing commentary, the video is still not out.
Right.
It took forever for the video to come out. And I think that's interesting because I don't know if there was a problem or if this is how long it always takes or like what was going on. But we're doing commentary, which is like a year. Wait, how long would it be later?
Probably a year later.
And it's still not out. And people were asking us, we say that like everyone's asking us like where it is. And we're like, we don't know. And maybe it's never coming out. Like at this point, we still don't know if it's even coming out.
I bet they were just operating on this antiquated system of like what they usually do. Like we shoot a workout video this month and then 6 months later it'll be edited and then 6 months later the DVD comes out. Whereas on Girls Next Door time, it's like we shoot an episode, they edit it, it airs a month later. You would want the DVD to also be edited that quickly and be out. But who knows, like what their distribution plan could have been something really antiquated. Like, oh, well, if we want it in these catalogs, we have to give them a year notice. It's just like things were so different back then.
They really were. It took forever for it to come out.
Because ideally, obviously for the consumer, you'd want that thing out and ready to order by the time the episode airs. But this was not the case.
Yeah. I think it's interesting too, just like them trying to do the 3 different things. Like they show Kendra taking it really seriously and she's working out with Kendall and she's working out with her Hector, the trainer down in the gym, and very serious, and you're putting in the effort, you're like green light smoothie, like, you know, doing that stuff. And I'm on the phone crying to my mom about that. They want me to like not eat today.
Yeah.
Like they want me to diet. And then it shows me chomping onto a cheeseburger, which is not even from this day or this time. It's from season 1. I know by the dress that I'm in that it's just before we go to Jazz Festival in season 1. And then they make this disgusting chomping noise, which
I hate those noises.
So in commentary, we also say that Kendra says that someone messaged her and told her that she needed a real martial arts instructor and that she was doing it all wrong.
Oh, yeah, she was pissed.
And then I say, well, someone messaged me and said my room is awful and whoever decorated needed to be fired and that they're an interior designer and they would do a much better job.
Well, somebody said I was ugly.
They did?
Every day.
Oh, yeah, same, yeah. So, yeah, we're getting all kinds of, like, snarky messages already. And speaking of snarky messages, in our next episode, I went, at the end, I went to Amazon to check our DVD, and I have our rating, and I printed out a bunch of the reviews on it. So we can go over some of those.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about those. Were those reviews made back in the day, or are any of them recent?
There's some that are recent.
Because I was shocked by some of those reviews. They were like, clearly the wrong demographic was tuning in. So can't wait to get to those. But if you guys would love more content in the meantime, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/girlsnextlevel. And we will see you guys next week.
And check out our merch store.
Yes, it's girlsnextlevel.shop. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye. For more content, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/girlsnextlevel.